In the Grunfeld Defense, black begs white to build a beautiful center and even wants your b-pawn to help support it. It looks super strange. When I first faced it, I thought, my opponent just gave me everything. What a butter. But then that bishop on g7 turned into a real menace. I wanted to push my d-pawn, but I couldn't because of the pawn on c3. That's the Grunfeld from white's perspective, being under constant pressure along that central diagonal. That constant terror on the h8-a1 diagonal is the reason why some players do not take on d5 at all. Others who do go for the exchange prefer sometimes bishop d2 before e4. So after knight takes c3 and bishop takes c3, their d-pawn is free to advance when black strikes with c5. Then in the 90s, Ashot Nadanian stunned the chess world with a crazy twist in the exchange variation, playing the nonsense-looking move knight a4. It breaks two big principles. Don't move the same piece twice and don't put your knight on the rim. It looks wrong, but it makes some sense, preventing c5 and stopping black from trading knights on c3. And white is threatening to push e4 on the next move. Typically there is bishop g7, allowing e4, then knight b6, bishop e3, black castles, and knight f3. The plan is bishop e2, castling, and rook c1, keeping a better center that black cannot challenge since c5 is no longer possible. In a game played by Viktor Korchnoi and Emil Sutovsky, black took on a4 to enable c5. If white captures, the b2 pawn is hanging. Instead, white played rook d1, keeping the pieces centralized and holding a slight edge. But in the game we are following, black went for f5. The main idea was to open the d5 square for their knight or the light square bishop. While another reason may be that black felt too comfortable in the center and on the kingside since white hadn't castled yet. But the same move also exposed black king on the a2-ga diagonal, and white had an idea to exploit it, starting with e takes f. If bishop takes f5, then after knight c5, hitting b7, and rook c1, white has a little bit more pleasant game. Sakaev, however, played g takes f, hoping to grab space and push white backwards with f4. There was only one problem with that: time. White captured on b6, freeing the c4 square for the bishop. Then knight g5, threatening knight f7 fork. Black defended with queen e8, and out of nowhere, bishop f7. When black takes it, the h5 square opens for the queen, threatening both the rook on f7 and mate on h7. Black played king g8, covering both threats at once. But the engine already screams mate in 4. The first move is easy. Queen takes pawn on h7 check. King f8. And now you can pause the video and try to find mate in 3. There is actually only one winning move. Everything else loses for white. And the move is knight e6. The point is, free the bishop and bring it to h6. Now, take a moment to observe this position. The threat of queen h8 is unstoppable. White could almost pre-move it, but black stopped the clock. The knight a4 variation is named after the player that won this game in great style. When I first saw it in Chess Informant back in 1996, I couldn't believe it was a real move. I was honestly disgusted, because I didn't think a move like that could go unpunished. But if you want to shock your opponent in the Grunfeld Defense, the knight a4 idea is definitely worth a try.